How's it going, Ram fans? CTV Sports is back again with a packed show tonight. I'm Madeline Davis.
And I'm Leah Cackowski. Here's what we have on tap for you this evening.
The rate and the rest of Norvell's team returned from the Rocky Mountain Showdown, but not without stirring the pot first.
And as volleyball wrapped up rivalry weekend, find out if they brought the Golden Spike back to Moby.
Plus, tennis finally takes the court for their first matches of the season at the Bedford Cup down in the Springs.
All that and more on CTV Sports, which starts right now. Rams, I just want to say that Saturday was one of the best college football games I've watched in a while. And that's because the Rocky Mountain Showdown returned for the first time in 4 years. Most importantly, CSU put up a fight like no other when everyone in the country was expecting a slaughter, only losing 43-35 in double overtime. Let's break the whole day down. First things first, there was a lot more than just the rivalry in Boulder, and that's because College Game Day returned to colorful Colorado for the first time since 1996. I was able to be behind the scenes, and let me tell you, the atmosphere was like no other. Students and fans were at the CU Event Center as early as 6 a.m. to be a part of the 3-hour show, with special guests including Coach Prime himself and the Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson to witness the 400th pick of game day history. And of course, no one picked CSU to take it away, because that's the Prime effect for you. And okay, I know the hype around Boulder is pretty real right now, but I was really disappointed by how little they managed to mention Colorado State all around. And well, if they did, they only circled back to the viral controversial comment that Coach Norvell made a few days prior at the coaches show. Here it is in case you missed it.
And I sat down with ESPN today, and I don't care if they hear it in Boulder. I told them I took my hat off and I took my glasses off, and I said, when I talk to grown-ups, I take my hat and my glasses off. That's what my mother taught me. So, you know, they're not going to like us no matter what we say or do. It doesn't matter, okay? So let's go up there and play.
It felt like hat and sunglasses were the only words I heard leading up to kickoff, as Sanders made it his mission to express that it was personal. The craziest part is after the whole comment, Coach Prime's sunglasses line made a whopping $1.1 million in sales in just a day, and over 4.5 over the whole weekend. Like, are you kidding? Not to mention he gifted every player on the team a pair too. However, was Norvell's poke a genius strategy? Because before kickoff, the Buffaloes were 3-touchdown favorites, and it brings me such joy to say that it wasn't the case whatsoever come Saturday. I mean, how cool is this trick play? Horton proved he can truly do anything, and he's someone the whole country should have eyes on. But in case you were wondering, the green and gold weren't just trying to keep up with the Buffs. They had an 11-point lead in the fourth quarter. No one would have thought that at any point it was guaranteed the Rams had the dub, as they had a ridiculous 99.4% win probability with just 2 minutes left. And I mean, come on, how about this Selly? Brown taking it from Sanders himself, maybe my favorite part of the whole game. But anyways, you guessed it, classic CSU football couldn't lock it down, as Sanders defied all odds and took a 98-yard drive to the house, leading into overtime. Boulder got to answer first, and CSU responded as they went into the second OT. But unfortunately, the clock struck midnight and the Cinderella run concluded for the green and gold. Wow, what a weekend. Boulder fans were not expecting Colorado State to come into their house with such fire, especially with the new QB and all of the stir-up beforehand. That said, there were some major differences that truly killed the Rams in the end, most notably the penalties. The Rams racked up 17 penalties for 187 yards, while Boulder only had 10 for 87. Talk about home field advantage, because if that's not the most lopsided result, I don't know what is. However, CSU dominated on the offensive side, taking the cake in rushing and passing yards. And that's all thanks to Braden Fowler Nicolosi being tough as nails and having an amazing first start of the year. The Rams also had 3 100-yard receivers for the first time in history, including Torrey Horton, Lewis Brown, and Dallin Holker. Either way, I couldn't be more proud to be a CSU Ram. There's still so much time left in the season, and I think this could be the pivoting point for both squads, as Boulder will test themselves once again in Eugene this weekend, and CSU having a chance to take off and redeem themselves against Middle Tennessee. Let's see what Jay Norvell thinks going into it.
We have a new opponent. It's a new challenge. It's a different environment this week. You know, we're not going to have a lot of the hoopla surrounding the game, and so we're going to have to bring our own juice and play on the road again against a good football team that's, you know, they're used to going to bowl games, they're well coached, and they have good players. And so the challenge for us is there.
Again, just truly a great experience for both teams to be a part of. Now, Madeline, we're all aware of the drama and frustration fans are feeling about a certain hit. Tell us what happened.
Despite getting the dub in overtime, CU fans are far from happy with the Rams after this one and have been going a bit too far to express their frustrations. Early in the first half, we saw CU cornerback Travis Hunter get beat up by a late and illegal hit from CSU safety Henry Blackburn. Hunter re-entered the game shortly after the hit, but then exited, where it was revealed that he went to a local hospital. Hunter will miss at least the next 3 weeks with a lacerated liver. After the hit, Blackburn became not only a target on the field, but a target for CU fans as well. In yesterday's presser, Norvell revealed that Blackburn and his family have received an alarming number of death threats since Saturday's game, and both campus and local police are looking into the matter. CSU Athletic Director Joe Parker let ESPN know that both Blackburn and his mother's phone numbers were released on social media, as well as both Blackburn's CSU address and his family's address following the game on Saturday. Coach Norvell also addressed this in his presser, saying,
I'm really concerned about some of the trends that are going on in college football right now and the reaction that people have to the players on the field. And, you know, we had a result after the game, actually during the game. You know, we had a player get death threats and his family get death threats and their address be posted all over Instagram and social media.
There is no denying that it was an unnecessary and dirty play, but sending a college football player and his family death threats seems a bit excessive and opens up a conversation about the genuine safety of athletes during the age of social media. So Leah, what do you think the future looks like with the age of social media? How do you think these athletes can protect themselves?
Honestly, I think it's a really hard thing to do because we're all young. Like Sanders and Norvell have addressed, these are 18 to 22, 23-year-old kids, and they all said it was just a game. Like, they're just playing a game, and to receive threats like this is absolutely crazy to me. I don't know what the future's going to look like.
I don't know either. I mean, exactly. Like, we saw Travis Hunter. I mean, you know, he addressed it wearing a giraffe onesie. Like, obviously
Yes.
it wasn't, you know, it wasn't the end of the world for him. I mean, you know, the kid was just in the hospital, and he's willing to, you know, forgive what happened on the field and say it's just a game.
Right.
But yet fans are literally attacking someone and threatening this kid's life.
I know. Sanders came out and said the entire team forgives him, and obviously Hunter did too. They both addressed it saying it's okay, we forgive Blackburn. Obviously, things happen in football, and that hit was, you know, it was brutal, and obviously he's hurt because of it, but I just cannot believe that that's the way fans are reacting.
It's absolutely absurd, and honestly, I'm really glad that they're talking about this because this is a legitimate concern, not just for college athletes, but just athletes in general.
Right.
I mean, you can talk to any high-level athlete, and they will tell you that they literally get death threats in their DMs.
Yep, and for no reason. I mean, again, these are two teams, too, who haven't experienced a Rocky Mountain Showdown ever. Two coaches who have never been a part of it, two teams who have never been a part of it, and with that can also come some immaturity of knowing how it works, and because I don't know, you're thinking of looking at Sanders trying to poke Kamara in the face. Like, it's trash talk, it's a rivalry. But for the reason, I don't know. I just think it should not have led to that extreme by the end of it.
I don't think so either. But I think it's an important conversation, and I'm glad that we're finally opening it up about it. And honestly, I mean, I'm a little disappointed. I wish the NCAA would have stepped in, to be honest, and kind of settled some things.
Right.
But I think that it's definitely important to talk about. It's a serious issue. And we do need to find some solution to protect these kids.
I couldn't agree with you more, Madeline. And still on the topic of Boulder, football wasn't the only program who had a rivalry weekend, as CSU Volleyball competed in the annual Golden Spike Home and Home Series, and while Boulder took the hardware home for the second year in a row. The Rams started off pretty shaky in enemy territory Thursday night, going down 2-1 right off the bat. However, that didn't stop the green and gold as they ended up taking the reverse sweep, winning 3 in a row to win the match. Following the excitement from Thursday, the two teams traveled back to FOCO for the second contest. And unfortunately, Boulder ended up doing the exact same thing, reverse sweeping the Rams. Even though winning the number of sets were equal for both teams, the way this series works is whoever wins the second set wins overall. So Boulder came out on top once again. But CSU still had plenty of notable players. Leah Jones continues to dominate as she had a combined 44 kills for the series. That is just outrageous. Annie Sullivan was right behind her, and Emery Herman racked up 3 aces as well. That was the last contest before conference play for the Green and Gold as they travel to Boise this Thursday to compete against the Broncos. Again, the Rams' pre-conference schedule has been brutal, so I'm excited to see what's to come in the Mountain West.
Another women's team here on campus just had their first tournament of the season. The tennis team made the journey south down I-25 for the Bedford Cup hosted by the Air Force Academy. The Rams came into this one using it as a learning experience. The Rams got to try some new pairings and get to see how some new faces played. Over the course of the 4-day tournament, CSU found some success and left the final day winning 3 out of 5 singles matches. Grad student Sharka Diktarova reached the finals of her draw where she dropped her match 6-3, 6-1 to New Mexico. Both fellow grad students Radka Bushkova and Victoria Rekhtachenko played for third, with Rekhtachenko taking her match in straight sets and Bushkova falling to Boise State in the third set tiebreak. The Rams also picked up wins from sophomore Luana Avalar and freshman Logan Vokes. The Rams are now looking onward and hope to use this tournament as a learning opportunity, as head coach Miley Tran said this after the conclusion of Sunday. It showed what we need to work on in the upcoming weeks before our next tournament. We learned more about ourselves, what we are capable of, and also what may be holding us back. The Rams' next tournament will be the John Messick Invitational, which will be held here in Fort Collins in a little over a week.
Utah Tech came out firing on Thursday and scored just 2 goals under 20 minutes of play. CSU responded fairly quickly, but it was too late in the end, as Utah Tech scored in just the last minute to secure the dub. Excuse us, sorry for some technical difficulties. A disappointing loss for the Green and Gold for sure, especially since they haven't dealt with anything like this thus far. Here's what leading scorer Olivia Fout had to say to the loss to Utah. It's a learning curve. We hadn't lost yet. We all have this gut feeling in us, and we don't want to feel this again. We take this, rest on it tonight, and see how we respond tomorrow, and Sunday as well. It's about how we respond. This can't break us. But were the Rams able to bounce back? I hate to say they took another loss against the Utes, losing 1-0. Looking at the numbers, this was a highly aggressive game. Utah taking 18 shots total and each team racking up a good bit of fouls. And what's more, Olivia Fout received her second yellow, which turned into a red card and an ejection. Yikes. That was the last out-of-conference meeting for the Rams, and they have a few days rest before the Wolfpack of Nevada comes into town on Thursday. Zoe Weir will give you a recap of all if the Rams were able to bounce back on the Thursday night news show.
Let's stick with some women's sports, but shift the focus to golf. And while the men also had a tournament this weekend, they did not get the same kind of result as the women, as the women tied for 4th on the first day, then stepped back into 5th yesterday. However, as a team, they are shooting much better than the men, who currently sit in 13th out of 14 teams at the Husky Invitational. Looking at the current rankings, we see the women dropping again to 6th, with players like Sophia Torres and Andrea Bergstadter leading the charge. The Rams hope to gain back some spots on the final day today, but we will just have to wait and see. Now though, Rams, we're going to take a quick break, but stick around for a special local feature story from Nolan Teubel.
Living with someone you don't know on the other side of the wall is hard, especially if you don't know how to be a good roommate.
The first thing that you'll want to do to be a good roommate is make sure that you always stay quiet. Be considerate of others when using common spaces and appliances.
Hey buddy, what you doing?
I'm just gonna need like 40 minutes.
Be respectful of your roommate's privacy.
Ugh, my bad.
Finally, make sure that you clean up after yourself. Oh, fresh toothbrush.
Have you seen my toothbrush?
Follow these tips to get along with your roommates and your landlord.
Welcome back from the break, Rams. I'm Nolan Teubel, and as mentioned earlier, boy, did we have a drama-filled Rocky Mountain Showdown. I thought this would be the perfect opportunity to give some insight and see what fellow CSU students have to say about the game. With many people calling the Rocky Mountain Showdown the game of the year, it is to no surprise why it is surging in attention online. But many of the online comments are furious fans outraged towards CSU. The fuel that started this fire came from Jay Norvell's comment towards Deion Sanders. So, I was curious and asked CSU students how they felt about it.
I think it helped, add to the whole week and the game itself, and I think it helped the players play harder.
I thought that was fine. I think Deion is kind of a baby for taking that how he did, but I thought it was fine. I think it was too offensive.
I actually think we may have gotten beat by worse if you hadn't said that.
We said it, wasn't that big of a deal, and then the whole media made us to be the villain in the scenario just because of a little comment about some sunglasses.
Coach Sanders was quick to respond to the comment, handing out sunglasses to the entire CU team.
I'm gonna give you these.
As well as handing a pair to the first take announcers during the pregame show on Saturday.
Well, you gotta be right now. You gotta be tight.
CU is one of the most followed football teams in the country right now, with a record-breaking 9.3 million viewers and the 5th most watched college football game in ESPN's history. It's safe to say this team has the attention. Even big-time celebrities are taking notice. So I asked CSU students if they felt Colorado lives up to this hype.
Yeah, I mean, they deserve some hype. They also have Deion. I mean, I know it's a big deal. They replaced their entire roster pretty much. There's like maybe 1 or 2 returners from before he got there. So, yeah, I think they deserve a decent, maybe not as much as they're getting, though.
I mean, they made a very smart political move with Deion as a head coach, and I think that a lot of it is just hype. I mean, they are just another D1 team. It's not like they have the legacy of Alabama or anything like that.
It's cool that Colorado sports are on the up and up again, but I don't know. I think it's overhyped for sure.
But it wasn't only the coaches that added tension to the game. Players on both sides can be seen verbally fighting during the pregame warm-ups. CU fans also began chanting towards the CSU players. But maybe the most talked about moment of the game was the hit on CU's star two-way player, Travis Hunter. So I wanted to hear what CSU students had to say about the hit.
I mean, after that hit, it's kind of, I don't know, because that hit on Travis was a little dirty. I don't think the whole team, though, no. I think just that one player. I thought that was pretty dirty.
It's not a dirty team. That was a dirty game.
I feel like it might have just been the build-up of it all, and it's kind of a legendary game. It's the Rocky Mountain Showdown, so I feel like they played really hard for this, but I feel like after some of the backlash, they might, hopefully, tame themselves a little bit.
They were just as quote-unquote dirty.
I don't think that's representative of our team as a whole. I think that's one situation, one game with really high emotions and high tension, and, I think that doesn't represent us fully.
No matter the narrative, this Rocky Mountain Showdown was a game for the history books. I don't think anyone could have predicted this record-breaking Rocky Mountain Showdown, but in all honesty, it did not disappoint. With Middle Tennessee on the horizon, I'm eager to see if CSU can bounce back. Now, Rams, we're going to take a short break, but don't go anywhere, because when we return, it's time for Hot or Not, where things might just get heated.
It takes less than 1 minute to find out if you may have prediabetes. You can do it here. But you probably won't. You're busy. Kids, work, show coming back in 48 seconds. So let's do this now. Hold up 1 finger if you're a man, women 0. 3 more fingers if you're over 60, 2 over 50, 1 over 40. If you're not sure, keep in mind you're sitting on a couch right now, so one more finger if you're not very active. One finger if yes, 0 if no. 1 yes, 0 no. Next, find the body type that looks most like you and hold up that many fingers while I look around awkwardly. And that's it. If you're holding up 5 fingers or more, you probably have prediabetes. Sorry to be so blunt, but hey, you're busy. Just go to the site.
Welcome back from the break, Rams. Welcome back to another edition of Hot or Not, otherwise known as one of our favorite times to argue. We have lots to discuss tonight, so let's just jump right in. Hottest discussion of the night and the weekend. Head coach Jay Norvell and his press conference shots taken at Deion Sanders. What I want to know is whether or not you guys think that is what fueled the fire, and let's admit it, shock the country.
Yeah.
Nolan?
I think 100% it fueled our fire. I mean, I don't think the game, their team is well fed off of that, which made our guys feed off of that. So it was a back and forth tension, and with the Rocky Mountain Showdown, I mean, you expect that, but when he first did make the statement, I was not that happy with it, to be honest. I think there's other ways about going about it, and maybe not discussing something like that. It wasn't that personal. I mean, it's something that you can just brush off your shoulder, but it definitely did help us. I mean, I think 100%.
Yeah, I'm with you. I was able to watch it live, and at first it was like, oh, haha, that's kind of funny. But then it was like, oh, we didn't know it was gonna go that far. Like, okay, like at first it's like, all right, like maybe shouldn't have said it. Like, but at the same time, looking back, I think Jay definitely was just trying to protect and uphold his reputation as who he is, what he believes in, what his team believes in. Is like, okay, we're gonna win the classy category. And even though it was definitely a direct moment at Boulder, look how much attention it got, and they thought they can roll right over us because of it. So yeah, first you're like, oh my God, why did he say this? But I think it was genius.
Yeah, I will say I'm kind of feeling the same way. Like when I first saw that he said it, I was like, oh, okay. I was like, he's taking a little jab, and then I thought about it more, and I'm like, okay, I'm a little embarrassed now. I'm not even gonna lie.
Yep.
Especially because I came into the game being like, God, I'm like, Jay, we're gonna get crushed.
I know.
And now you've fueled their fire. But honestly, I think that I don't even know that it was the comment that fueled us as much as it was the fact that they saw how Boulder took it.
Yep.
And I think that they saw how Boulder took it, and they were like, okay, well, if they care this much, we're going to care.
Yeah.
And we're going to make it personal. And they did. And honestly, I was so proud.
I know.
I was proud to be a CSU
So
fan
was
on
I.
Saturday.
Yeah, very much same. My only problem with it is, I'm on social media, and this is the first game where almost everything you look at is either a press conference, a dirty play, Sanders poking Kamara's eye. There's no recognition to players that played their butt off, that had an amazing game. We have Troy Horton having such a good game, and nobody is talking about it because the narrative of this story is a dirty team versus a dirty team, and that's what just upsets me. I mean, these guys work their butts off, and they don't get any of the recognition they deserve.
Don't even get me started on the fact that literally, Torrey Horton had a game for the books.
Yes.
Braden Fowler-Nicolosi, first start of the season, and he performs like that. I mean, I will never get over that trick play.
Oh, I know.
That was insane. I remember they pulled it last year too. I think it was with Braden as the quarterback too. And I don't remember who the receiver was at the time, but I remember it was against Wyoming.
Yep.
I remember seeing it, and I was like, Torrey Horton just threw the ball.
Well,
I was like, that wasn't even the quarterback.
Had the record of 16 receptions during that game too. That is a school record,
insane.
And no one has said anything about it.
know.
So
133 yards, had a touchdown pass and a touchdown catch.
Yep.
I know.
And the only things I'm seeing on my phone are press conferences.
I know.
And drama.
Well, either way, it did something. Because look at
did,
how we
but-
competed.
But
So
it's so true. I mean, everybody's looking at CSU now.
Yep. So I think it made people search up Jay Norvell, made people search us up. Who are these people? So I think it did a good job.
Oh, exactly.
You know
with
what they say.
9.3 million viewers, I mean, this is great for CSU.
I agree.
Even with the loss, I mean, we can't be more proud of these guys.
Totally.
Seriously.
Any press is good press.
Yeah, there you go.
And in my opinion, we won the game more than Boulder did, even if the score doesn't say so.
I agree.
Yeah, and I mean, as much as we could discuss the game drama and suspense of the year, I think it's time we move on to some pro ball. Now, when you pay a quarterback this much money, guys, you expect results. I mean, do you guys think this 0-2 start is concerning for him?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. I mean, think about it. Denver has had a losing season every single time they started off 0-2. And it's not even Russell Wilson. I'm talking about 0-2 in general, because ever since the NFL switched it to a 14-team playoff, set in 2020, out of 23 teams that started off 0-2, the only team to make the playoffs were the Bengals.
Wow.
So my thing is, just for Russ, I think it's concerning for the Broncos as an organization, but for Russell Wilson, he does great in the first half. Almost, I think, 85% completion, but then 56 in the second. Like, close it out. That is what you're getting paid for. That is what quarterbacks get paid for, is for the second half and for the pressure. And I don't know where Seahawks Russell Wilson has gone. So I think it's concerning.
And, I mean, they're looking at this guy as a leader. We have someone who's won a Super Bowl. I mean,
won a Super Bowl against the Broncos.
And it's
they killed the Broncos, yes.
I don't know. I want to see someone on this team really step up, take this leadership role, and get this team some more energy.
I know.
I mean, they did great in the first half, and then they're just going to, completely fumble it in the second. Like, that's not acceptable when you pay a guy that much money.
No one came to his birthday last year. I'm still never going to get over that. Like, make it happen, Russell. Make it happen.
I don't know. I think it's just, when it comes to, like, Colorado sports, you got the Avalanche, you got the Nuggets, they're winning. Realistically, in the past years since the 2015 Super Bowl, the Rockies have been better than the Broncos.
Oh, gosh.
Like, that's pretty bad when you're saying that the Broncos have been the worst team in Colorado since 2015.
Yeah. And you told me the Rockies aren't they about to maybe get 100 losses this year? Is that what you were telling me?
Yeah,
that
for the first time
which
ever.
Says something.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a rough stretch for the Broncos, and honestly, I think some sort of culture change needs to be made, and they're trying, but I don't know what it is.
I don't know either.
And I don't think
it really is a team issue too. I mean, it's Russell Wilson. I mean, he can take as much blame as he wants, but there's other key players that need to step up.
I agree.
Yeah.
But last and certainly not least, as we discussed, Rams volleyball just finished a brutal battle for the Golden Spike, coming up in a few short weeks. So honestly, is it going to be more important or less important than the Golden Spike tournament? Which is going to be more vital to the season, do you guys think?
Madeline, you want to take this one?
Wyoming.
You think
100%. It's conference play versus out of conference.
Yeah.
In reality, as fun as it is to beat Boulder, our rivalry with Wyoming means more.
Yeah.
It pulls a lot more weight.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we play them twice.
Right.
I mean, we also played CU twice, but we play them twice in 2 meaningful games. I personally, attack me if you want. I think in any sport, a game against Wyoming is more important than a game against CU.
Oh, that's a hot take right there.
I know.
I think in the sense of volleyball, 100%. I mean, and really, I think this team really just needs to gain some confidence. Like, they are such a good team, but they struggle because once they get on defense, they just get in this rut where they're constantly just trying to get out of these sticky situations. And they have players like Malia Jones who can kill the ball. We need to start getting these players opportunities to make plays and be aggressive and be a team that is feared.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's going to be a little bit easier in a way. Even though they're 11-0, their out-of-conference schedule is a joke.
Yes.
So,
we were playing ranked teams, and they were playing teams you never heard of.
While it's more important, I think, for our schedule, I think Boulder was definitely a more competitive match.
Yeah.
So that's where I stand, too. I think it'll be more important, but I think Wyoming's not that good, personally.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens.
It's a while
we'll see what happens. We have a good team, and they just need to stay confident. If they stay confident, they'll be good.
Then we'll be good.
And well, Rams, that's all the green and gold news we have for you tonight. Don't forget to tune in to CTV tomorrow for the newest edition of our new show, CTV Cribs, and we'll see you next week.